The Buccaneers moved up from 14 to 13 last night to help protect Tom Brady when they selected offensive lineman Tristan Wirfs. A little bit of pressure for Wirfs protecting the GOAT, but Shannon, give this move a letter grade.
Give it an A, because this was a need position, Skip, and what you want to do when you got an older quarterback, you want to make sure he's protected. You want to make sure that he feels protected. And we saw last year that as Tom got happy feet, Tom was starting to flinch because the offensive line started to break down somewhat. And so you shore up a need, you get a need position, Skip, to protect your aging quarterback because you want to have as few hits on him as you possibly can. I like it. In some projections, Skip, he was the #1 tackle. And they ended up moving up one spot and getting a guy that they needed, a guy that's going to be very valuable. Now, as Jenny mentioned in the read, Skip, that's a lot of pressure. Imagine coming in and you got to protect Drew Brees or Peyton Manning or, in this case, a Tom Brady. There's a lot of expectations put on that young man's shoulder. But he should be. Now, he's very versatile. He did play some left tackle, Skip, but I believe he projects better at a right tackle. Nice punch, could stand at the point of attack. And that's what you need. You want to make sure Tom Brady knows he's trusted.
Okay, I'm going to give Jason Light an A+ for this because this was the sweetest move of the night to go from 14 to 13 to get a Tristan Wirfs, who by many projections would have been a top 5 pick, the first of the 4 stud linemen to go, and he was the last of the 4 stud linemen to go to Tampa. Remember, he was the first freshman ever to start for Kirk Ferentz at Iowa. He ran 4.8 at the combine at 320 pounds and did 24 reps on the bench. That's freakish. He is a right tackle. That's what they needed, was a right tackle. And I don't think the pressure for a 4-year starter at Iowa will be anything.
Well, Skip, I think the thing is the pressure, that not so much the pressure, but who's back behind you. Trust me, when I was in pass block, which wasn't often, I knew when John was back there, as opposed to Bubby, as opposed to somebody else. It's a different mentality, Skip. Trust me.
Yeah, it's different. That is it for Undisputed, Skip. I am so glad CD is a Cowboy. That's going to be fun. We'll see you back here same time Monday morning. The Herd is coming up next. And in a surprising move last night, the Packers traded up from the 30th to the 26th pick to select quarterback Jordan Love. It would appear Green Bay believes Love will be the heir apparent to Aaron Rodgers, similar to how they drafted Rodgers in 2005 with Brett Favre still on the team. Shannon, how concerned should Aaron Rodgers be at this point? How is he doing?
He's ticked. He's very, very upset because, Skip, it seems to me Green Bay is preparing for the future, and Aaron Rodgers says, I'm still on the roster. I'm preparing for right now. Aaron Rodgers is 36 years of age, Skip, but he's coming off a season in which the team went 13-3. He threw for 4,000 yards, 26 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, and went to the Pro Bowl. They were one game away from being in the Super Bowl. And, Skip, as a quarterback, the quarterback is always thinking, especially when you have a season like what he had and how close they were to ultimately reaching their goal of getting to the Super Bowl and winning, hopefully winning. But to get there, Skip, you can't win if you're not there. He's like, hold on. You got a guy that at the bare minimum, he's 2 years away. I'm talking about at the ideal best you could hope scenario. He's 2 years away. So in the meantime, what do we do? How does he help us now? By running scout team? That's how Aaron Rodgers, that's how quarterbacks think. We need somebody that can help us win. Maybe we need another receiver, Skip, because really, if you think about it, all they got is Devontae Adams. I mean, Geronimo Allison went to Detroit. There's like, maybe we need another wide receiver. What about a tight end? And they're like, nope, we're going quarterback. And they moved up to get him. That's what's going to annoy Aaron Rodgers, Skip. They moved up to get him. And Aaron Rodgers like, probably got him another, Skip, he probably was drinking a little scotch. He's like, yeah, we're going to get us a receiver, maybe an offensive lineman because we did, lose Balaga. Well, we're going to get us a lineman. And then there's been a trade, the 24th pick, the Green Bay Packers select Jordan. He had a glass, Skip. He turned the whole bottle up. He's not happy with this selection, Skip, and you know he's not happy with the selection. Name the time in the history of the NFL, Skip, a quarterback has been happy when the team selected another quarterback, especially in the first round, because you don't select the guy. Skip, you get a guy in the sixth, seventh round, fifth round. You're like, okay, yeah, he's a project. We gonna work with him, and maybe this kid is that. But when you select the guy in the first round, you have ambitions of him playing sooner rather than later. You're not just finna stow him or tuck him away. Oh, yeah, we brought that. We gonna save that for a rainy day. That kid, they got that kid to play, and Aaron Rodgers is not happy. I don't understand the pick because they were close to getting to the Super Bowl, and you got a guy that's not gonna help you get to the Super Bowl anytime soon. Aaron Rodgers is ticked. That's not the word I want to use, but he's ticked.
I agree. And I want to remind everybody watching us right now that my man Shannon Sharp is coming to you live from the wine cellar of his palatial estate, way up the hill from here, up a street called Beverly Glen, up in Bel Air. He's not fresh. He's just the Prince of Bel Air, is Shannon Sharp. But about a mile or so to the west, just a mile or so, is Malibu, California. And somewhere in his beachfront mansion last night, Aaron Rodgers was sitting with his woman, obviously Danica, and he was sipping his scotch, and he choked on his scotch when that pick was made, because all of a sudden, to your point, Shannon, they didn't just sit still and say, oh, look, Jordan Love fell in our lap. No, they spent a fourth-round pick to trade up from 30 to 26 to swipe him because they said he's falling. And that was as eerily sort of similar as this was to the scenario in which they first drafted Aaron Rodgers to replace Brett Favre. Again, he was falling that year. A lot of people thought he would go number one, and then Alex Smith went number one. And as we all remember, Aaron Rodgers had to sit in the green room and sit and sit and sit until he fell to 24. Well, the Packers that year didn't
24.
trade up for him. He just fell right to them at 24, and they're like, well, I guess so. I guess we got to do this. At that point, Brett Favre was going into his age 36 season, as Aaron is, and you know the rest of the story. But it took Aaron 3 years. They rebuilt his delivery from the Jeff Tedford Cal system into what you see today. And it was good for Aaron to sit behind Brett for 3 years. I don't think Brett tried to help him at all. And by the way, I don't think Brett will try to help Jordan Love at all. But Aaron. I do think Aaron Rodgers just got slapped in the face. One of my favorite expressions from the old days of the draft is so-and-so's on the clock. Well, last night, Aaron Rodgers, you're on the clock. Your clock is ticking. After a couple of weeks ago, you talked about how you would like to play into your 40s, a la Tom Brady, a la Drew Brees. Your GM and your coach said, you know what? No, that's not going to happen, because I keep reminding you, Shannon, even though they did make it, obviously, to the NFC Championship game where they stunk it up and got blown out, and Aaron Rodgers was pretty pathetic, his stats have fallen each of the last 4 years. His QBR has gone down, 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 and his completion percentage has fallen down, 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 down. And I think they are looking at that as he is in decline. There's no way he's playing into his 40s. He has too many outside interests. He does love his golf. He'll probably become a media commentator. He's great in interviews. He doesn't seem quite as obsessed with football as Tom Brady has always been. So I think they're thinking, gee, the future could be sooner than later. And they think they made the steal of the first round, taking a Jordan Love, who, again, he was named after Michael Jordan. So he could be Michael Jordan Love. But a lot of people think he could be Patrick Mahomes. I told you, Shannon, I don't know for sure. I didn't watch enough of him because Utah State was not very good last year. He had a sensational year before, 32 touchdowns to 6 interceptions. He lost his coach. He lost his coordinator. He lost almost all of his starters on offense going into last year when he threw an FBS high 17 interceptions, 20 touchdowns, 17 interceptions. I've been watching a lot of the highlights. He's got a huge arm. He throws a tight spiral. I like his touch on his deep balls. He has sort of a natural feel as well as the arm strength for throwing the deep ball. He's obviously very athletic at 6'4", 225, and he can run. You know, he ran 4.7. That's pretty good at 6'4", 225. So the package is there. The traits are there. The Mahomes-like traits are there. And to me, 2 years, I think their plan would be 2 years for him to replace Aaron Rodgers. So as you point out, the double slap in the face was not only have the Packers not ever taken a skill position player in the first round since they took Aaron Rodgers, so he's got no help in the first round. But then last night, when it was time for them to take somebody to help him, they took his heir apparent, as in Air Jordan apparent, and it is, it's got to be a dark day up in Malibu for Aaron Rodgers.
Skip, it is. And the thing is, the only thing that maybe might be a saving grace, Skip, is that